Socialism's a lot like Axe body spray. It's never worked and it never will. But for some reason, young people still think it's a good idea.
Every American should have free healthcare. The prices for my Viagra are too high.
Welcome back to the official YouTube channel for the Roads to Freedom Foundation. If you've been here before, welcome to the family if you haven't. This is Caleb's Corner, and I'm your beautiful host, Caleb Salvatore. Today, we're going to dive into a chapter of one of my favorite fairy tale books, Socialism! In case you weren't aware, it's becoming a growing trend for politicians like U.S. Senator and Walking Dead extra Bernie Sanders to push socialist programs, like his most recent, Medicare for All. According to multiple studies from every side of the aisle imaginable, this would cost north of $20 trillion in a span of 10 years. But forget the cost for just 1 second, because we should totally trust an entity that can't even keep track of Hillary Clinton's emails with our medical records. Because an entity that destroys everything it touches, both economically and physically, should totally be trusted with our healthcare. Because the people who start endless and unwinnable wars and then don't even bother to give the veterans whose lives have been destroyed by those wars adequate healthcare should totally have those powers extended to our healthcare as well. Because the people who created a failing Ponzi scheme to begin with in Social Security, then bankrupted it even further, should totally be trusted with our healthcare. Because the US government pushing the idea that everyone should own a home back in the 1990s didn't cause the housing crash 20 years later. Even if it did, the idea that everyone should have healthcare totally won't do the same. Or, everyone should go to school, like the ballooning student loan debt we've got right now. Because we should totally ignore the fact that plenty of government programs start off as humble do-good ideas that then turn into bottomless money pits that do more harm than good. Because if the war on terror, war on drugs, and war on poverty weren't colossal failures already, we should totally try to start a war on being underinsured. Because Amtrak was totally successful. Because proponents of this idea totally have a way to pay for it other than tax the rich. Because the top 1% of earners totally don't already pay more than the entire bottom 90% combined. Where's the money coming from, Senator Sanders? You won't answer this question. Because the fact that the rise in healthcare prices in this country have a direct correlation with the rise of government involvement in our healthcare is just an inconvenient truth. All those things are totally true, by the way. Are you tired of me saying totally yet? The fact is, even if we taxed every single person who made over $1 million a year at 100%, we'd get about $616 billion a year. So again, where is the money going to come from? Because anyone that's passed third grade math knows that $1 billion is a little bit less than $1 trillion. Wasn't it wild how Hillary Clinton was the poster child for everything Bernie Sanders and his supporters stood against, including Wall Street and big money corruption in politics? Until he dropped out, endorsed her, and bought a $600,000 vacation home a few months later. Life's a trip, isn't it? No, I'm not saying he should have dropped out and endorsed Trump or anything, or even ran as a third party. He could have just went the Ted Cruz route, telling everyone to vote their conscience. Implying that they should vote for a former two-term governor who slashed his state's budget and crushed the unemployment rates. But who am I kidding? I'm still sour grapes from 2016. Anyways, now obviously that was a hypothetical. It's nonsensical to even suggest we could tax the rich at 100%. Because if you tax everyone who creates jobs at 100%, they will just leave the country. And then there will be no jobs for those middle-class people that socialists claim to support so much. Ask France how that worked out. I don't really care what your income level is as far as, us hanging out together. It's not a big deal to me. I grew up in the middlest of middle-class families. But this idea that we don't need the rich, or that the rich are someone who should be despised, is just ludicrous to me.
Me and Ernst once more when we leave them dead. We want a lady in the street, but a freak in the bed that say, yeah.
All I'm saying is I've never been offered a job from a poor person. But let's pretend for a second we did tax the rich at 100%. And let's also pretend I'm not talking like John Stossel. Time for you economic illiterates who slept through math class to wake up. You're getting a lesson today.
God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Let's say for the sake of this example, we tax every single person that makes $1 million or more 100% for the next 10 years to pay for this brilliant social medical program, and just for the sake of this example, they don't flee the country, take all the jobs with them, and destroy the United States economy for eternity, which is exactly what would happen. If we tax them all at 100% for 10 years, we'd bring in about $616 billion a year, which is only about 1/4 of some of the more conservative estimates regarding the price tag for Bernie's plan. So again, where does the rest of the money come from? And when we all know, when it comes to government pricing, it's just like at the car dealership. When they tell you your payment's going to be between $350 and $360 a month, it's always going to be $360. So even in the best case scenario, we'd have like another $15-ish trillion of national debt that's still unaccounted for. Where does the money come from, Bernie? Math is hard. And that isn't including the other policies that these people are advocating for. That's a scenario where we tax everyone making $1 million or more at 100% and only implement one of the socialist policies. Other policies, which would probably cost right about the same or even more, include free college, universal basic income, and expanded welfare benefits. Math is hard, when in reality something like making college free oversaturates the market and devalues a college degree for everybody, much like a high school diploma. College is already pushed too hard on our youth. We don't need to push it even harder. Plus, we already have people of good faith like LeBron James building schools in his home state of Ohio. Even if you want to make this work, which it won't, you'd have to slash doctors' salaries in half and double their hours, like they did in the UK, where it's working so great, where if you have a BMI of over 30 or you smoke cigarettes, you're no longer eligible to receive health care. Back to the doctor's salary thing though. So imagine by some miracle, I somehow obtain enough money to buy your current employer. When I buy your employer, I bring everyone into the room and I say, okay, look, I'm going to pay every single one of you 40 to 60% less than what you were making before you walked in this room. Oh, and by the way, you have to work twice the hours now. You're going to quit and find a new job, right? You're a good employee, you've got a lot of options. You know, it won't be hard for you to find another job, especially in a free and competitive market where plenty of people would love to have your services. Now imagine I'm the government. I take over every single company in your industry, and I make everyone do twice the work for 40 to 60% less the pay. Now you have nowhere to go. Now you have one of two choices. You can buck up, take the huge pay cut, never see your family, and keep working this job, or you can start over from scratch and find a completely new field. Either of those sound appealing? That's the reality of socialism. What these clowns fail to mention is we already do have a single-payer healthcare system in this country, and it's called the VA.
A total disaster.
The same VA where you have people, you know, dying in waiting rooms and offing themselves in the parking lots. Socialists often point towards small, predominantly white Nordic countries that are propped up by free market capitalism. They also don't have to pay for a military because for whatever stupid reason the US does it for them. Even then, they're still drifting towards privatization of healthcare services. Isn't it funny how these far left people are all about diversity and then have no problem telling us we need to be more like countries who are 90% white? What they don't point to, because they don't care about minorities, are the people that are hunting stray dogs for food in Venezuela, a country that Crypt Keeper-in-Chief Bernie Sanders once referred to as the American Dream. Or the UK, where the disastrous National Health Service has already sentenced 2 children to death and gave the parents no say in it, experiences full waiting rooms, much like our own VA. As I said earlier, recently declared that it won't see patients who smoke or have a BMI of over 30. Having a high BMI does not always equal unhealthy. LeBron James has a BMI of over 30. Are you really going to tell me he's unhealthy? Maybe bailing on the Cavaliers for Miami was a little unhealthy mentally, but physically, I think he's in pretty good shape. Anyways, sounds like a real socialist success story to me, doesn't it? Winning. The bottom line is these people are intellectual cowards who are too afraid to discuss their own ideas with someone who might have a differing opinion. So instead they resort to name-calling, violent acts, screaming at the sky,
Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment,
or flat out avoiding discussion. Like when socialist darling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez refused to debate Ben Shapiro, citing that Shapiro was, get ready for it, catcalling her by offering to debate. Because in reality, she knows he's not catcalling her.
Damn, girl. Want to respectfully debate the merits of our political views in a civil manner?
Jackass.
She's afraid to have her ideals compared to a real socialist country, like Cuba, or the Soviet Union, North Korea. Cambodia, China, Somalia, Ethiopia. The list goes on and on of failed socialist countries. So basically, I'm gonna leave socialists with two questions that I'd love for them to answer down in the comments below. Question number 1. If socialism was so great, why did East Berlin need a wall? Number 2, how the hell do you pay for it? If this video wasn't enough to sway you away from the dangers and ruins of socialism, then I don't know what is. But hey, we should totally trust the people who can't deliver mail without going bankrupt with our healthcare, right?
I miss you like the summer. Right now I think I need you here, but I don't really need you.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, even though they're dirty capitalist pigs. They did pay me, and as you know, I'm trying to save up for a third summer home. Be sure to get your tickets to the 2019 on convention when they are announced. There will also be a Christmas special on Christmas Eve for the Road to Freedom Foundation. By the way, don't watch it because Christmas is a capitalist pig holiday. Now, anyways, I've got to get going. My wife and I are still being investigated for bank fraud, and I've got another check from Hillary Clinton to cash. Gotta run.
Peace out.